Okay, today's video is on how to turn fractions into ratios. Ratios are used in many everyday situations to compare quantities of the same kind. For example, if we look at making cordial, the ratio of cordial to water for new Cottee's cordial is 1 to 9. This means for every 1 part cordial, you need 9 parts of water. Writing this description as a ratio allows people to mix up a cup of cordial or even a giant tub of cordial, and they will know that it will taste great every time. The order of the numbers in a ratio in relation to the order of the wording is really important. If we're looking at the previous example of the cordial, imagine you got that swapped around and you accidentally made cordial with 1 part water and 9 parts cordial. When we're looking at ratios, we can simplify them in the same way as we simplify fractions to make them easier to understand. So for example, we could be looking at a ratio of 8 to 12, and we can see that between 8 and 12 there's a highest common factor of 4. So if we divide both sides of the ratio by 4, we'll simplify our ratio to 2 to 3, which is much easier to understand. So, an important note, before ratios are written, we have to make sure that the numbers are expressed in the same units of measurement, and then once we've done that, we can leave out the units and make our ratio a bit more easier to understand. So here's our first example. Ava's mum says that she may have a 15-minute break after every hour of homework that she completes. How could we write her break time to homework time as a ratio? So remember that our first step is to make sure that our ratio is in the same unit. So here we have minutes and hours. So our first step here is to change both units into minutes. So we've got 15 minutes for every 1 hour. So once we change that, that becomes 15 minutes for every 60 minutes. Now our second step is once you have the same units, you can take away the word. So now we just have a ratio of 15 to 60. Now we've found our highest common factor between 15 and 60 is 15. So we've divided both sides of our ratio by 15. And now our ratio in most simplified form reads, for every 1 minute of break time, Ava will have to do 4 minutes of homework. So let's have a go at simplifying some ratios which involve fractions. Here we go with our first example. So we have the ratio of 3/8 to 5/16. So our first step needs to be to find a common denominator for both fractions. So remember that we're always looking for the lowest common denominator. So we're trying to find the lowest common multiple of 8 and 16, which is 16. So remembering that if we want to change the 8 on our first fraction to 16, we're going to multiply it by 2. What you do to the denominator, you have to do the same to the numerator. So our 3/8 now is 6/16, and because our 16 stayed the same over here, we just keep our 5 the same. So now we have a ratio of 5/16 to 6/16. Once both fractions have the same denominator, we can rewrite the ratios without the denominator. So we just simplify both of these, get rid of the 16s, and we're left with a ratio of 6 to 5.